So I'm going to do a summary and review of the four Hell House movies, which most people have not heard of. These movies are a guilty pleasure for me. Similarly, like they asked, what's his name? He's not as good as me. What's his name? James Cameron. What his guilty pleasure movie is, and he said Resident Evil. I should do a whole review of Resident Evil. That was a cool movie. Anyways, so there's four movies in this series. The first one's just called Hell House LLC. The second one's called Hell House the Abaddon Hotel. The third one's called Hell House Lake of Fire. And the fourth one is called Hell House Origins. So these four movies revolve around the Abaddon Hotel, which I later figured out the name Abaddon, I'm giving you the Google search, is derived from the Hebrew word meaning destruction. It's a name used in biblical texts and later interpretations, often referring to a place of destruction and the angel of the bottomless pit. Its Greek counterpart, Apollyon, translates to destroyer. The term can also refer to the general concept of ruin or chaos. Now, these movies are ultra low budget, and they're basically shot in found footage form. And you know what? As a horror movie fan, I especially like found footage movies. I don't know what it is about them. I guess it makes it feel more real. And also, the wonderful thing about horror movies that I came to conclude was that it's more about atmosphere than story. You don't need much of a story. Just show me a haunted mansion, and I'm happy. Oh, and preferably have hot chicks in it, and then I'm even more happy. Okay, so the first one starts. In 2009, a tragedy strikes the opening night of a haunted house attraction in Abaddon, New York. Well, I didn't know there's a city called Abaddon. And it's called the Abaddon Hotel, where 15 people die under mysterious circumstances. Years later, a documentary crew investigates what really happened. They interview Sarah, the lone surviving member of the Hell House crew, and recover found footage that chronicles their setup. The footage reveals 5 friends, Alex, Mac, Paul, Tony, and Sarah, renovating the abandoned Abaddon Hotel into a haunted attraction. As they work, strange things begin to happen. Clown mannequins move on their own, doors slam shut, and Paul sees a ghostly woman standing in his room. Paul disappears, and the group's leader, Alex, insists on going ahead with the show, despite the growing unease. On opening night, chaos erupts. Visitors flee in terror, crew members vanish or are killed, and the hotel's dark past begins to surface. It turns out the hotel has a history of satanic cult activity and suicides, particularly involving its former owner, Andrew Tully. In a shocking twist, we learn that Sarah was already dead during the interviews, luring the documentary crew back to the hotel as part of the evil's plan to claim more victims. So that's the summary. As I said, I mean, it's a cool plot, but it's more the atmosphere, and it scares me, and I've rewatched it like 10 times at least. So I just googled whether this franchise has a cult following, because to me it should, because to me I think it's really good. And it says yes, it definitely has a cult following. While it's not a mainstream horror blockbuster like The Conjuring or Insidious, it's earned a strong reputation among indie horror fans for a few key reasons. 1. Found footage done right. The first Hell House is widely praised for how it uses the found footage format to build tension and atmosphere. Again, I said atmosphere, without relying on over-the-top effects. Creepy atmosphere and lore. Hey, there's that word again, atmosphere. The Abaddon Hotel is a genuinely creepy location, and the franchise slowly builds out its mythology over the sequels. which gives it that layered, mysterious feel that fans love to theorize about. Again, mysterious feel, atmosphere. Word of mouth popularity, horror YouTubers, Reddit threads, and indie horror bloggers often highlight the franchise as a hidden gem, which I agree, it's a hidden gem, which has helped it spread organically. Fans pick apart the timelines, hidden clues, and background scares, especially in the first two films. That kind of viewer engagement is a hallmark of a cult classic. Being distributed on Shudder helped it reach the horror streaming crowd, which often overlaps heavily with the cult horror fandoms. Now, I will add that this director and writer, you should probably look up his name, Stephen Cognetti. Now, that's not surprising. Italian. I'm Italian descent, and the best always comes from Italians. I don't have much to say other than it's just really creepy. The atmosphere is creepy, and the scares are not. They're creative. They're creative scares. It's not like the usual, girl, opens the mirror in her bathroom, and then when she closes the mirror, there's like a scary face, behind or the girl opens the fridge, and then when she closes the fridge, there's a figure there behind the door. You know what I mean? Like, this is more creative. And this series focuses highly on these clowns. There's these clown mannequins, and they're constantly moving positions when you're not watching. Hell House 2, the Abaddon Hotel, is not as good as Hell House 1. Hell House 1 is the best. Hell House 3 is even less good. However, they all have their cool scenes that are like creepy as hell, like awesome, scary. Like, I remember one scene in this movie, the Hell House 2, where there's this guy who's like a pretentious psychic, whatever, and he's using a Ouija board, and he thinks he's so cool, and then he notices like there's a figure, it's supposed to be like a wax figure, but then all of a sudden it turns around and it's facing him, and he goes, okay, we're done, we can go now, we'll leave. And then they die. But to summarize the plot, not that it really matters, picking up Hell House 2, the Abaddon Hotel, came out in 2018. Picking up a few years after the original, a disgraced journalist named Jessica Fox and her team, including a skeptical paranormal investigator and a tech guy, investigate the Abaddon Hotel to uncover the truth behind the deaths from the first film. They're tipped off by a mysterious anonymous source who sends them footage suggesting that the evil is still active inside the hotel. Meanwhile, a YouTube conspiracy theorist, Mitchell, who has been researching the Hell House incident, gets involved. He discovers disturbing footage that the evil in the hotel is manipulating time, space, and reality. Jessica and her crew sneak into the hotel, only to find themselves trapped inside a twisted nightmare full of demonic presences, the infamous clown mannequins, and doors that lead to nowhere. Mitchell enters to try to save them, but realizes too late that the hotel is feeding off fear and suffering, orchestrated by the spirit of Andrew Tully, who seeks to open a portal to hell. Everyone who enters the hotel becomes a pawn in a larger supernatural plan. The sequel expands the mythology, showing that the Abaddon Hotel is more than just haunted. It's a gateway to something far more sinister. See, isn't that a cool premise? I'd watch that movie. There's one memorable scene. There's many memorable scenes in this sequel. One of them, though, is that they pick up a hitchhiker, and they go, yeah, where are you headed? And she goes, the Abaddon Hotel. And they're like, well, you can't be headed there. That doesn't, it's been closed down. But they drive her there. She gets out of the car, and they follow her like they're like, no, you shouldn't be in there, like, honey, like, it's not good. And it turns out she's like a demon or whatever. She's dead. She was dead the whole time. So this is like, this movie quadrilogy actually has dead people who are like not just in the house, but like hitchhiking on the street and whatnot. So that's a cool little thing. It's a new thing. And again, this movie, the sequels, they build on the mythology, which is just amazing. I can't think of another movie series other than like Halloween or something. Except what's cool about this is that it's all ghost themed. I guess the other best one I can think of is Insidious, the Insidious films. But they got much worse. The sequels got much worse than the original. Whereas this series remains constantly like at a level of good. Hell House 3 is less good than the previous two. Much less good. But again, it's got some really cool scares. And they're not jump scares like the usual jump scares. And it's still creative. The biggest weakness, I would say, of this movie is it gets too much into the story of Andrew Tully. Although it also gets cool. I'll read the synopsis right now. Okay, so here's the summary. The third installment takes place years later. We'll see what the year that it was made. 2019, so it was only a year. Dude, I like this director. A billionaire, Russell Wynn, buys the Abaddon Hotel to stage a live immersive performance of Insomnia, a play about good versus evil, streamed online for the world to see. He invites a documentary team to record the production, and they're given full access to the hotel despite its violent history. Russell's behavior is strange. He seems obsessed with the hotel and its connection to the underworld. As rehearsals begin, cast and crew experience horrifying events, ghost sightings, possessions, and more appearances of the clown mannequins. Russell reveals he has a personal connection to the evil. He's a kind of chosen warrior, destined to stop Tully's plan. Okay, eventually Russell and some of the crew perform a ritual to close the portal once and for all. Tully's cult rises to stop them, unleashing the full terror of the Abaddon Hotel. The film ends with Russell sacrificing himself, allowing some souls to escape. In a bittersweet final sequence, previous victims from the first movie are shown to be at peace, implying that the cycle might finally be broken. Yeah, that's a cool scene where they all realize that they're ghosts, they're all dead, and they're stuck in the Abaddon Hotel, but it's not a bad place because it's like a good version of it, but they're there for eternity. Okay, and the fourth installment came years later, in 2023. Hell House Origins, the Carmichael Manor. Set before the events of the original trilogy. I didn't know that. Carmichael Manor introduces a new haunted location tied to the Hell House mythos. Okay. A true crime podcaster, Margot Bentley, travels to the remote Carmichael Manor to investigate an unsolved family murder from the 1980s. She's accompanied by her girlfriend Rebecca and tech support pal Chase. The trio sets up camp in the empty manor, determined to crack the case. As the days pass, they uncover disturbing clues, weird symbols, ghostly sightings, and references to the Carmichael family's ties to satanic rituals, possibly linked to Andrew Tully's cult. The familiar clown mannequins make an appearance, as do other nightmarish entities. Chase disappears, Margot becomes increasingly paranoid, and Rebecca is seemingly possessed or manipulated. The big twist is that the Carmichael Manor was a kind of prototype for what Tully would later do at the Abaddon Hotel. The manor's horrors are a dark prelude to the events of Hell House LLC, the first movie, tying together the mythos. In the end, Margot's investigation costs her everything, and the film ends with the suggestion that evil continues to spread, now more than just a local haunt, but a nationwide infection of supernatural darkness. So the story is not, it doesn't matter. It's the atmosphere, and it's the clever scares. For example, there's one scene where girl's filming herself with her phone, and she rotates. As she rotates the phone, you see a bed, but then when it rotates back, the bed is covered in blood, and there's like a dead body that's reaching up from it. So in conclusion, I would just say, if you like ghost movies, haunted houses, these movies are effing fun. But another interesting thing about horror movies is that everybody has a different favorite. Everybody, there'll be a movie that I love that everybody else hates. For example, I thought, what was that movie? Silent Hill. I thought that was like one of the best horror movies ever. And everybody else is like, oh, you're an idiot if you thought that was good. I think The Shining was a crappy movie. I think it wasn't scary at all. It didn't scare me for a second. But everybody else worships it. So, grain of salt. But check it out if you haven't seen it. This quadrilogy. Please offer your thoughts and like the video. It helps me. I'm trying to get to 4,000 hours watched, which is pitiful, but I'm happy to get it. I'll be proud. And above all, make sure to have a very nice day.